temporary staffing employee that came from an agency that gives you temporary employees when you need somebody real quick, because that's pretty much his status. He's not an employee, but he has to be paid by the city.
You said that it didn't qualify for the emergency. To cut grass. You say so in our policies, section 9.203, temporary employees, if an emergency arises in which an employee is immediately needed on a temporary basis, the mayor shall authorize the hiring of such employees on her recommendation, on the recommendation of the department head. Such employees can only be hired under an emergency basis for one 30-day period.
Yes, so that's the policy. But what I'm saying to you is, the circumstances at the end of that 30-day period could warrant continued work. It doesn't have to be this guy, but a person could be hired to do it. And just to clarify what I mean by emergency, with a small staff to do certain work, what the mayor is saying is a valid reason to continue operating. This goes under the broader powers from the charter for the mayor, meaning he has to continue services. And if you have so many overgrown lots that are city-owned property, it is the mayor's responsibility to ensure that the city is in compliance with the law. So the authority goes beyond what's in that policy is what I'm saying. So I would not characterize it as an emergency, but I do believe the mayor has authority under other provisions to take an action to continue city services.
But, so that's also saying that, it could cost us more than our city budget to cut up all the land that we have in our community that the city made in our easements, and that would take all our expenses of our budget. And so isn't there to just give that blanket statement,
I know, so I mean, it's more complex is what I'm saying, and so we can't go to the extremes here or there, but since you do have another council meeting in a couple weeks, certainly I would expect some item to be on the agenda to address it if the employee has not returned to work.
Thank you.
Item 6 and item 8, if it be the pleasure of council, they both refer to training and setting a date. Both those items are intertwined. So if it be the pleasure of council, if we could set a date for training, or you want to do it at a subsequent date. Or you just want to skip both items, I'm okay with that. Just move the agenda. That's just to get much of it, and just so you understand that a lot of what we're talking here and your questions to council would fall under training, and that's perfectly normal. But you've mentioned we should have training, not the first time on agenda. Would you like to set a date today, or you want to bring it back? Okay, we'll skip both items. Let's go to item 7. Discuss, consider, and take action on city council members reappointed by Mayor Allen to the following committees. Councilman Wallace?
Council, can he do that? Because it said discuss, consider, and take action. He literally just said skip it.
Council had no information, no discussion. Hold on. Both of us not gonna speak at the same time. When I ask council for their will, and it's just like at the end of the meeting, if I ask if there's any other information, if there is none, I can close the meeting if they have nothing else on these two issues. I mean, what are we talking about? You want to sit here and breathe?
As the chair, the mayor can in fact, unless you have a motion on the floor to move an item or to bring an item back or something like that, the mayor can pass the item. So he did ask for the will of the council, and so without hearing anything, he can move forward.
If we're like, I'm literally on my calendar to see what's the date, what's the option. And plus, if an item says discuss and take action, don't have to take action on moving that. Like I had to discuss and take action for item number 16 to be brought up.
You have to do that. One of you has to make a motion. So if, depending on how long you expect to wait for someone to make a motion. If right now, you could make a motion to go back to item number, I guess it's 6 or 8,
6 and 8.
and, and then discuss.
One, don't we have to combine 6 and 8? We can't just say 6 and 8 because they're two different agenda
Yeah,
items.
well, that's what the mayor had suggested, to discuss them at the same time. So he called both items at the same time. Call consideration of both items at the same time, which is the same thing as combining them.
What's council's pleasure on items 6 and 8, or 6 by itself? I'm fine. What do you want to do?
Could we look at some dates right quick?
Yeah.
Well, but are you looking to set a date for training? I mean, what are you
Yeah,
looking
we
for?
want to have a training.
Okay,
workshop.
well, we're in a live meeting. We just want to know what you're doing. You're looking for a
Okay.
date for training. Okay, go ahead. Fine. Councilwoman Williams.
Who will be doing this training here?
We'll be bringing someone in who's familiar with the Open Meetings Act and the mayor and council responsibilities. It could be, if she's available, Attorney Hayes or someone possibly from their law firm or someone from TML. I just know we need training. That's my only thing. Training needs to take place because our meetings running like they are has a lot to do with, we don't know who and what's supposed to do what, and that's what I'm hearing Attorney Hayes point out. But that's why we have training on the agenda, and training has been asked for. Any suggested dates?
We're gonna look at a weekend date again.
March 19th, would be
Well, it doesn't have the same time restrictions of the budget, so it could be further down, just so we have something we can plan for and go through this. Our charter, our ordinances, council responsibilities, mayor responsibilities, these are real things that help.
Does September 9th work?
Can't do something.
Are we trying to do it on the weekend or weekday?
Yeah, a weekend, that's weekday.
Bad for those two.
Some out now,
So Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, Monday.
or Saturday morning.
Alright, we did Saturday the 8th, I'll be fine. Then for the 9th, I just got something.
Saturday the 8th, what time?
4 o'clock? No, morning? How early is the morning? 10, 11, 10?
10.
Okay. Ms. Dickey, you got that?
Absolutely.
Okay, you want to make a motion, Councilman Wallace? Councilman Wallace, you want to make a motion on the date, Saturday the 8th, 10 a.m.?
I can't do the 8th.
All right, what about the 15th?
I can do the 15th.
I can't do the 15th. Can we do the first?
About the first.
I can do the 1st.
Make a motion. Councilman Jones?
The 1st, we good?
Yeah. Let's let him. Let's let him.
20 seconds.
I can do 27th.
Be 20 seconds. Be the 20 seconds.
27 is good.
Council make a motion?
Alright, I move that we have a training workshop regarding the roles and responsibilities of mayor and city council members on September 22nd at 10 a.m.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved to the second that we have a workshop on roles and responsibilities of mayor and city council members on September 22nd at 10 a.m. Heard the motion, ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor? Ayes have it. Item 7, discuss, consider, and take action on city council members being appointed by Mayor Allen to the following committees: Waller County Sub-Regional Planning Committee, Councilman Randall. Beautification Committee, Councilman Jones. Ordinance Committee, Councilman Williams. Flood Committee, Councilman Wallace.
We left off emergency, from the last meeting, emergency with Brian Rowland, and then we talked about HGAC representative Brian Rowland.
Right, yeah. I'm not ready for that appointment, so that was just a recommendation.
Well,
Discuss
if
this.
we go to subsection in our ordinances, council, these were brought up, this was a council initiative, and we don't need, as was stated earlier, city council can set up the committee, and we don't need the mayor's approval.
Well, the charter says upon the mayor's recommendation. So he recommends the members for the creation and the members. There's two separate sentences. The council creates the boards, commissions, and committees. But the second sentence, the members are appointed by the city council upon recommendation of the mayor. So he needs to make a recommendation for you to approve. And that's in the city charter.
So is there a reason why we at the last meeting talked about this? This is supposed to be brought up, an item brought over from the last meeting, and specifically we had, I guess, a discussion about it, and you left off emergency. You said it was an error last week. Is there a reason why it's not on the agenda, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, because I didn't put it on there. The emergency committee is already set, so it doesn't need council approval, and I'm not making the appointment, so there's no reason for it to be on there.
So we can have a council member a part of the city emergency process to be part of,
Should be.
Well,
It doesn't have to be
On
me.
a board, or is it a city board or is it another agency?
it's a committee, it's a city committee.
Committee. So
It's
these
already
are,
been formed.
my understanding, these are our council committees. So there's a council member that's sort of responsible for making sure that committee does the work of the committee that we have set up.
no, but we don't have a council member a part of that committee.
So, as I said before, if you want that as an agenda item, three of you can get together and apply for a special meeting to consider that.
We've had it as an agenda item. We've approved this already.
Yeah,
And then we've,
But did the mayor make a recommendation for?
No,
so
it was a
that's-
suggestion that I didn't accept. And it's no different than if council wants to create a committee, council creates a committee. The mayor makes the appointments. That's why we're having that training.
Well, this isn't, the mayor doesn't make the appointment, the mayor makes the recommendation.
Makes the recommendation. I'm not making the recommendation, so there's nothing to vote on.
It says discussion to add Councilmember Brian Rowland to the Emergency Management Committee at HGAC. CC, Councilmember Rowland made a motion.
Exactly. What's council's pleasure? Do you want to vote on these? You want to pass them? What do you want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Rowland.
I move that we approve the city council members being appointed by Mayor Allen to the following committees: Waller County Sub-Regional Planning Committee, Beautification Committee, Ordinance Committee, and Flood Committee.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council approve Mayor Allen's appointment to the following committees: Waller County Sub-Regional Planning, Beautification Committee, Ordinance Committee, Flood Committee. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? Councilman Rowland.
And the committees are set up by council. Who leads the committees?
So whatever the creation of the committee description is, that describes how that committee operates. Each committee does not have to operate exactly the same as another.
I guess what I'm asking for, since these council members, they're leading these committees, correct?
Well, normally they're considered a council liaison, meaning they're there to make sure that there's someone from the council
Right.
who is seeing what the committee is doing. So they don't even have to be a voting member. It depends on how it's set up, how you set up your committee or your, they're all committees. I was gonna say board, but, yeah. Some boards only have a chair. Some boards don't have like a chair, vice chair, all that other stuff.
And I've got a unreadiness, council. On item 9, it says discuss, consider, and take action to develop a beautification committee. Can we actually, on item 7, ratify an appointment to Councilman Jones to a committee that doesn't exist yet?
By appointing someone to a committee, you have actually, the council member, like I said, that council member is appointed to that committee. You can have the same, you can develop the scope of the committee today or later. But
Okay.
until there actually is a committee, there's no committee for the council member to go to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 9, discuss, consider, and take action to develop a beautification committee for the city. Councilman Jones.
Those brought previous questions as to why I even want to take this initiative and why do we even need it. There are other cities that actually have a beautification committee, such as Humboldt being the closest. Houston has one of the city council members actually a part of it as well. The beautification committee is to enhance the overall appearance of the community and quality of life for our residents, which kind of to sum it up a little bit, I've already took on that initiative from several citizens. Spoke up about what was happening on 290, which is the quality of life for the residents, as well as we've been having a Central Glen Park for quite some time that doesn't have anything, the ball hasn't been rolling on it. So I actually reached out to Ms. Honey and Mayor previously to try to get the ball rolling on that property, as well as do like several different initiatives such as like street documents and different things that such to actually get more of the community and students and citizens actually to beautify our home, the city of Prairie, and different things of that such. So that's why I wanted to be a part of this initiative and things. Also to some of you guys wondering why did I not want the approval of someone to basically pay to cut grass, because I feel like though we can get our own citizens, such as students, community morale to go out and do different things to beautify the community. A lot of people go out and beautify their own communities, such as recycling things of that such. So we can actually go on that route initially. So that's why I wanted to bring that up.
Councilmember Jones, are you saying that the purpose of the committee would be to develop a plan?
Yes, ma'am. The purpose of the committee is to develop a plan of action to come up with different ways to beautify our city, such as different projects in which community and citizens could be involved in, as well as different things that they would like to see in the community.
So you could actually make a motion to establish the committee, to develop a plan, to enhance the city and improve the appearance of the city. And so the committee members would actually come up with the plans, like you're saying, if it's recycling or if it's, certain target areas, whatever that would be. And that would be and they would make recommendations to city council, for city council to implement certain projects.
Yes, ma'am. So I'll move, I'll move on my own.
Yeah, you can.
So I move that with the adoption of the beautification committee and the board puts together a plan and initiatives pushed towards council to start beautifying the city. Just one second.
Okay, before we start the discussion, okay, you've heard the motion that the board come up with a plan to develop a beautification committee for the city. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions? What board are you referring to, Council?
That I that board is formed for
The
funds.
committee, it's really a committee.
Okay, that committee is.
Okay. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Item 10, discuss, consider, and take action in regards to the My Brother's Keeper program, building a community of practice. Councilman Rowland.
I withdraw my item.
Item 11, discuss, consider, and take action to create a youth council for the city of Prairie. Councilman Jones.
So this initiative was actually brought upon by me and council member, Dante Wallace as well. Our objectives, we had 3 objectives, which was for leadership development, bridging the gap, as well as educational mentorship. Potential partners would be the Prairie Chambers of Commerce, as well as Student Government Association, along with Troop 1906. Membership, the youth council should consist of 7 members, all of whom should be board members upon the youth council, subject to approval by the city council. The youth council advisory board shall consist of the chair and co-chair and 2 program coordinators. What will be actually basically for the youth council to do, the youth council will have their own meeting on the first Tuesday on the month, as well as attend regular meetings. Different cities already have appointed the youth council, but I have the application form in the process. What we said was that we're building our youth today for a better tomorrow. We're looking for passionate, talented individuals who are driven to making a difference in our community. As I stated, the objective is leadership development, bridging the gap within the community, as well as education and mentorship. Requirements such as well as attending the meetings, engage with peers, diverse groups, and government legislation, live in the city of Prairie, be between the ages of 14 and 21, participate in different trainings and conferences, as well as various discussions. Be prepared to serve a 1-year term. Prairie council membership application is basically it's a whole application process with first, last name, seeing where they live, grade level, what school they actually attend within Water County, as well as why they're joining, social media, and why would they like to basically be a part of the youth council. Any questions?
Can we change the age 21 to 18? The only reason is we're talking about the city of Prairie.
Councilmember Williams, you can't be heard. If you
Oh,
speak
I was just
louder.
saying that I wanted to change the age from 21 to 18 because pretty much our demographics here in Prairie, you probably will not get residents that's 21 years old to be on the board with 14-year-olds. So that's why I asked if they could change it from 21 to 14 to 18.
My other recommendation is that for Boy Scouts, the age is 12, so we may want to go down to, is there a reason why you chose 14? Do we want to go down? Is it gonna, so I would probably say at least 12. And then we need to take out the Milwaukee. Prairie Youth Council application, it says Milwaukee Youth Council. Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Rowland.
I move that we take action on creating a youth council for the city of Prairie View.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that council will take action to create a youth council for the city of Prairie. You've heard the motion, ready for the question.
I have a reading. I heard Dr. Vita Brown basically asked for something. Why do we just have to have youth? We have a lot of seasoned citizens within the community. I just want to let you know that me and Devontae are taking the initiative to also look into different civic clubs, wanting to make our council job easier, as well as getting the community engaged and involved within their own limits.
Okay, y'all hold off on that until you do.
Please note, council members, that
Don't call for the question.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 12, discussion on James Muse Water and Sewer Project with updates. Basically, we're just very close with the final piece of paperwork, getting into Austin on the $1 million James Muse Water and Sewer Project. So just, again, keeping it in front of you, and when we get closer, not what's happened in the last 2 weeks. But
Do we get the attorney and the engineer to get the paperwork? Where we are in that process?
they've got all that they had. There was a document that Attorney Hayes and I discussed this evening that was just pointed out to us on Friday by Attorney Kerwin that we need, that we think is in the city or her office. So, yeah, pretty close. Item 13, discuss, consider, and take action to adopt an ordinance regarding rental registration. And this was brought out and discussed rather thoroughly at the last meeting, but primarily this is something that more and more cities are doing. And in our situation, as some of what has been pointed out to us, we've got some out-of-area slumlord situations. And this is really just registering them. And right now, as the city has gotten several complaints, we have nothing that we can do about them. And this is to give us something to know, number one, who's renting in our city, and give us an opportunity if there's a health or safety violation, or we have a complaint from parents or students, as we've been getting, to give us something to act on it. You have what Attorney Kerwin put together, but I would also encourage that we have Attorney Hayes review that and then bring it back to council. But yes, Councilman Rowland.
You said you're gonna, what were you saying about having an attorney Hayes with you?
Well, since Attorney Kerwin is not with us, that if the council so desire in taking a look at doing something like this, then we can do it with the caveat that Attorney Hayes review it and bring back to us, because Attorney Hayes, I believe you mentioned to me it was something more and more cities have been doing in the last several years too.
Right, so Councilmember Rowland, there's been a court decision in the last couple of years about notification requirements for the owner when you have a tenant there and the tenant says, come on in and do this. So if I can just, I don't know how it was presented last time, but I have just a number of clients that are doing this because of absentee owners, okay? And so the reason this is such a great program, it's been successful in several cities in Texas, is because when they do that application, they pay that fee, it helps pay for the people to go inspect the deal and to administer the program. And also, it provides that on the application, they have to identify somebody that you can get in touch with locally. So if there's a problem.
So what you're describing is not, we didn't, in ours, that is not there. And so.
So I wanted to beef it up.
So if I could make the motion, Mr. Mayor, if I could make a motion that we move this so after our budget meeting for us to have time to be able to, well, my motion is, I move that we move agenda item, discuss and take action to adopt an ordinance regarding rental registration until after our budget meeting.
Second.
Yeah, after the budget.
It's been properly moved and seconded that item 13, discuss, consider, and take action to adopt an ordinance regarding rental registration be brought back after our budget meeting. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Question, I got a Now, can I ask why after the budget meeting instead of just tabling it to the next meeting?
I mean, either one, it gives us, the budget meeting just gave us time, that's all we're asking for.
Yeah, so I'm really want to ask because if you make a motion saying just to put it after, that doesn't technically table it to the next city council meeting. So would you have to, it just says you need.
Yeah, you need a
after,
date certain.
So you need to actually put on there like, yeah, table to the next city council meeting, so it could be on the next discussion.
So, do I need to, put a date, or do I need to make a motion?
You can put an actual date or the next meeting, the next regular meeting, however you want to
I'll
do it.
put that we move to September 10th, 2018.
Okay, so basically you got made a friendly amendment or adjustment to your motion. All those in favor say aye. Ayes have it. Item 14, again, I would prefer this to the training, which we can use to cover that versus a lengthy discussion and training on the Open Meetings Act. Council has mentioned it a few times this evening that we have concerns. Yes.
And can I just make one? So I know, you may, we talked about a little bit, that Open Meetings Act says that you have to post an agenda 72 hours in advance of the meeting. And I've been asking if we can, there's a way we can set up in which we get it even before that Friday, just to give us a little extra time to look at the agenda, because like I said, when I went to Commissioner's Court, they put out the agenda on that Friday, so I gave them Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, so that they're ready for Wednesday. And getting things on Friday sometimes, it could become a hardship to try to get in contact with people because it is the weekend, and I just want to give the council plenty of time to review the information given to us.
If council sets that, Councilor, then that's what we'll do, am I right? Because right now, the City of Prairie's ordinances only say that we're required to get it to you 24 hours. 72 is the state law for posting. It's not the state law for getting it to council members. So council members can elect to change that, carry it over.
Well, I mean, I was asking if you could do, I mean, because you set the agenda, if you know, choose on your own doing just to get it to us a little earlier, just as County Judge Duhan does, even though they have the same 2-hour rule, he still chooses to give it to them 2 days earlier. So just to help out his, the Commissioner's Court making decisions.
Sure, we can be glad to give it to you. Wednesday before?
Yes, sir.
Friday? No problem. Councilman Jones?
Council will be appropriate for you to ask.
Oh, well, we're on this Open Meetings Act training, right?
No. Item 15.
Well,
No, it's on 14. Yeah, we're on 14.
So that, I mean, if you want to actually talk about the requirements of the Open Meetings Act and talk about agendas, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mayor, who,